We chose to bring Iris into the camps because in the UK they're often associated with love and also death, healing sort of thing. So we made from that point we were able to move across. We had to, as soon as we got the white flowers in, we realised we had to balance the other side out. And to do that, we brought in these two black trees. And if I stop there, I just want to go over the theme of the whole build, if you like. When I first decided to illustrate the Raven, I looked online, and there are literally dozens of examples of illustrations for this poem, and they all take place in the room that the poem plays out in. There's a desk, there's a raven above a door, and there's a man usually laying on the floor in a fit of despair. And I wanted to get away from that. And I've got a friend who's a psychologist, and she gave me some background on what she thought Poe was like as a person. So what you're seeing around the edge here is not actually an illustration of the raven. It's my interpretation of the state of Poe's mind when he wrote it. He just experienced the number of deaths in his family, and we know he was pretty chewed up about losing his young wife. So the story begins at the white area, just around the entrance. He's going through the kind of emotions that people go through when someone dies. There's the hope for the spirit. So if you look up there, you'll see like the gates of heaven, and there's a nice little tie-in next to it, the Busted Palace. I found one of those on the internet. That was quite fun. So put that in there. Then as the canvas moves around from right to left, the white starts to give way to grey as his mind becomes more clouded with grief. And we know he was quite cynical about the church. He wrote The Pit and the Pendulum. So I thought, rather than illustrate, I thought, how do I illustrate that? And what I came up with, the town I live in, there's a church ruin. I thought that would be a good thing to bring in, because it's rather symbolic. I can't think of anything more symbolic than his feelings for religion than a church in ruins, really. And then as the canvas goes further around to the right, the grief starts to consume him more and more, and the canvas just becomes black. Behind the trees, I brought into play he was obsessed with codes, and he used to put them into his poems, either directly or indirectly. And I managed to get hold of one from a poem called The Gold Bug, I think. And at first glance, you might not notice it, but it's kind of nested in with the tree twigs. There's a nice little tie-in. Just briefly going back to the church ruin, if you look up in the air above the purple leaf, I tried to visualize a poem actually forming in someone's mind, and you can see the words of the poem form a raven in the sky, but the words kind of fade in and out of existence because he hasn't quite got them together in his mind. And then finally the entire canvas just ends up in sort of ruin. Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, let me look it down here. How long did it take to build? The build itself, as I say, as this was the first build, we spent about a month just learning how to do it, how to set up the work process. So I had a lot of trouble trying to convert art into something that would form a circle, because it's not something you're ever trained to in art college. I was just flying blind there. That was quite difficult. But once we got that done, and I'd learned how to use sculpts, the rest of it came together in about 3 weeks, I'd say. So all in all, about a month and a half. But it was a lot of fun. There's a couple of interesting points. Poe died at the age of 40, and we managed to hide 40 copies of his signature into the art. And we've never found anyone who's managed to find them all yet, but they are all in there. And another thing, there are 3 ravens in the picture. Most people can spot 2 of them, but the third one's a bit more subtle. Yeah, so that's the raven. After this, I'm quite happy to follow you, Cyrus, wherever you wish to go. The rest of them don't come in a particular order. We just made a list of poems and decided to illustrate them. Is there ever any sound associated? Well, I would love there to be sound, but unfortunately, copyright on sound is incredibly tough. It just proved impossible. I mean, there's one build you're going to see in particular we made about Les Miserables, and I desperately wanted to get the Planet Suite by Holst into that because of you'll see why when you go up. But unfortunately, I just couldn't get hold of it. The copyright on it was insane. So, I mean, to build this, we had to, every texture, every script, every sculpt in here, we made ourselves. None of this is from Marketplace. If Jupiter by Holst was in the public domain, I would grab it tomorrow. So if you see one, let me know. Yeah, we can go to that one next. Lead the way, I'll follow. How do you feel about Autodesk? It's good. I've got an uncle, he's a nuclear engineer. He uses Autodesk quite a lot. He introduced me to it. I tried the consumer version. What is it? 3D Studio Max? Yes, you can take photos. We encourage it. Oh, I should just say for the photographers, just by the entrance on the right, there's a small heart. If you take photographs and the leaves keep dropping in front of your face, click the heart and it will turn them off. Okay, Jack, cool. Thanks for that. I should take a look at that. All right, I think we're all going off to the next one now. Right, guys, yeah, this way. Follow me. Right, I think I should say, when you guys walk out, it is possible to fall off the edge if you get far enough out. So now this one is based not about the book, because the book is so big. It's just based on a single quote from the book, which you can see just behind Darwin there. If you wait till that quote reses and read it, this entire build is based on that single quote. We were desperate to avoid the singing peasants musical kind of angle thing. It seemed a bit ridiculous to me. So down here, this is obviously Paris, Pool Quarter, if you like. Most of the textures here I got from a French site. These are textures of French buildings. You can actually enter these buildings as well. If you see some of the doorways towards the end. No, I didn't go to France. It was a French website, sorry. I could go to France. It's only 60 miles away from me. This build proved to be extremely popular with Flickr fans, especially sort of the fashion crowd in Second Life. They like to come here and put their dresses on and take photographs. And yeah, France is only, let me think, it's only about 24 miles across the sea. It's quite close. You can pick up French radio on the cars here quite easily. Right, now then, I hope you guys have all read the quote so that the next part makes sense. Around the quote is a kind of spiral staircase, and if you all make your way up it, you can see the next part. But bear in mind there's no safety barriers, so try not to fall off. I see someone already has.
I met in the street a very poor young man